What up? Oh, dang. God.
Wow.
All right. Keep that in. Keep that in. What up? What up? What up, internet? Who you are, where you be, where you at, what you see. This is Pop Cult Parent, the podcast where we watch some old stuff, some new stuff, but it's always good stuff. I'm one of your hosts, Mark M.F. Jones, and I am joined by
Mark, I am shocked. I am shocked that this is the intro you want to do. I was expecting you to do a Batman voice. I am shocked, or at least Commissioner Gordon. What I'm getting right now, are you tired? Are you sleepy?
No,
I am appalled.
I was gonna do that, but I was like, that's what they'd be expecting. You know,
I
they'd
am
be expecting
look,
some.
hey.
Oh, I got scars on my podcast. You know, like
Yes. Anyways, hello. This is Niels RY, aka Enough from the Clown.
yes.
And this is Shannon, aka Bump Them Other Naysayers, because I'm down for my naysayers.
Awesome. And we also have a special guest for this episode, a member of the Superhero Roundtable, my big brother, the man from Charlotte himself, the master of all things superhero, and the defender of Iron Man. Which side are you on? Iron Man and Captain America?
Oh man, Tony was right. Tony was
Tony
right.
was right. The defender
Team
of
Tony.
Iron Man himself, my big brother Otis. How you doing, Otis?
Hey, what up? What up? This is O Stroud. Happy to be here. And I am safe from Cat Williams, so I'm happy to be here today.
Happy to have you here, Otis. And Pop Cult, if you haven't put it together, we're talking about the legendary movie, the maybe greatest superhero movie of all time, might even greatest film of all time, arguably greatest movie ever made, The Dark Knight, which I believe turned 10 years old this
15.
past year now.
15 years old. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, my heart. Hold on, I gotta find my medication because good Lord, 15 years old. Well, time's a son of a bitch. The Dark Knight turned 15 years old, and we're gonna talk about it. Nels, you got some fun facts for us. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna just like dive into this, but I'll turn it over to you.
Bet. So a couple things. We shared it's the 15-year anniversary of The Dark Knight. So it's a 2008 movie. This is Christopher Nolan's second of his Dark Knight trilogy. An interesting thing to know is that this movie had a budget of $185 million. Revenue-wise, though, it made $1 billion.
All the money.
A Billy.
And
I don't know if this is the first superhero movie that made a billy, but I'm pretty sure it was the first superhero movie to make a billy.
Because we heard, not to interrupt your facts, but I remember like, Spider-Man's making like 600, X-Men's doing this, but no one, not a superhero movie was crossing that billion, I feel like, before this movie.
Now, mind you, this is 2008. I'll talk a little bit more about the interesting things that happened in 2008. But just to kind of give you some context, as far as like movie going wise, the industry thought that 2008 was going to be a down year for like sales for movies. And it kind of was, except for the fact that 1/6 of the box office sales in 2008 belonged to The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight alone. Wow. 1/6 of the entire of tickets sold to movie theaters was just The Dark Knight. So just to kind of give you some context on how big of a deal it was, there's that. Some other fun facts for you all is I'm sure a lot of folks may or may not know this because Christopher Nolan is a unique brother when he comes to his writing and his storytelling, but there is a comic book that is heavily influenced in The Dark Knight. And no, it's not the Frank Miller, The Dark Knight Returns comics, even though a lot of the themes from Frank Miller's run is influencing Christopher Nolan's writing. It's actually The Long Halloween. The Long Halloween is one of the greatest Batman comic book series ever. If you haven't read it, strongly suggested. DC Studios has made an animated The Long Halloween. I suggest watching it if you don't feel like reading it. The basis of The Long Halloween is following the stories of Gordon, Harvey Dent, and Batman and just their relationship for an entire year. And that's where you get introduced to the Calendar Man and the ridiculousness that is the Calendar Man and all the stuff that's happening for the different holidays throughout the year. It's just dope. I'm going to keep it there because it's just dope. I strongly suggest that you read it, watch it, whatever. So that's that. The other thing is, do you all know the story of James Gordon Jr.? So Jim Gordon's son, James Gordon.
In this movie,
Otis,
or just
you
in
know?
general?
Not of this movie, but there's some stuff that happens in this movie that hints to some stuff that happens in the comic books.
Yeah, go ahead. I know about his daughter.
Yeah. Okay. So James Gordon, or Jim Gordon's son, James Gordon Jr., actually turns out in comic books, specifically the Scott Snyder run of Batman comic books, to become a villain. And not just a villain, one of the worst villains in Gotham. And part of it was he was so traumatized to all the things that his dad would bring home from dealing with the menace that is Gotham villains, that it made him psychotic. And he turned out to be one of the most treacherous villains in history. So much so that they have an alarm in Gotham when James Gordon Jr. comes back into town. They're like, oh no, shut down the shops. James Gordon Jr. is back in town. Hide your kids, hide your wife. It's essentially, imagine, because this is really like what Barbara has to deal with. Imagine, what's her sister's name from Halloween? Jamie Lee Curtis. Imagine Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of the police commissioner and her brother's coming to town, except it's not just Halloween. It's just a random, every 5 years. He just comes to town and kills people and makes her life a living hell.
Emergency broadcast system for one dude.
Yeah.
If James Gordon is near you, get to shelter.
Right.
And so they kind of hint to that. So
can I just, fellas, can I just bring something up? Like, why is there an economy, a population of Gotham City? Like, specifically, even for these movies. Like, now, I've said to you plenty of times, we talked about this. I would rather live in Angel Grove, where I could get stepped on by giant monsters, than live in Gotham City. I'm not living in a city where I can run into the Joker on a Tuesday going to work. Like no. Like, why do people live in Gotham City? Is there a reason in the comics? Like, is the water good? Like, is rent controlled? Like, what's the deal?
Yo, cost of living in Metropolis must be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
But here's the thing, like, in theory, because they're all fictional places, they're all relatively close, right? Because you can take the train to Metropolis or to, what is it, Silver City, where the Flash is.
Central City.
My bad. Central City, like, you got all those cities where all the different superheroes are all around, and it's pretty bad. But I would take my chances in, like, Central City, where Flash is, versus, like, I don't want to kill there.
Central City's a breeze compared to Gotham.
I would
That's what I'm saying. Like, put me out there.
Mirror
like,
Master, Gorilla Grodd, that is easy.
Shark.
Shark.
Flash runs around for 5 minutes and has a conversation with his villains, and we good for a week. Batman's villains are a menace. All right,
no parts of Gotham City.
But that's the other thing. Like, Gotham is safe for nobody. Like, you either got to worry about the villains or you just doing something. Like, we done all done it. Maybe you litter, you jaywalk, and then next thing you know, your arm is broken by Batman himself. I'm like, bro,
or his kids.
Or his kids,
or one of his little children running around just punches you in the face.
I'm sorry, man. If I live in a city where I get beat up by a 10-year-old because, like, my parking ticket expired, like, I'm moving, dog. Like, I can't. I'm a grown man, dog. I can't.
Bro, they know that city. They know their town. You know what I'm saying?
No, the first time something blows up, bro, I'm done. Let alone some collateral damage. Like, every scene since, no matter what, the 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton, every scene is tearing up somebody's, like, car, house, like, business. Like, there's no way.
You can't.
The only person that could probably stay in there that loves Gotham City are, like, insurance people, because they eat it. Like, premiums are like mortgages.
Shannon, like what you said, you just, like, you taking out your recycling, and Batman's like, you didn't separate the glass from the paper, asshole. And it's just.
And here I go, like, a broken arm, torn ACL, and can't walk, like, all because I was confused. I was like, cardboard. I don't know. Do you throw it or recycle it?
You don't recycle pizza boxes.
To answer your question, Mark, in regards to comic books, Gotham is a lot like New York City nighttime. I know like a lot of people think Chicago because Chicago's nickname is Gotham, and like 3 of like the 7 Batman movies were filmed in Chicago. But like in the comics, Gotham is a historic city in this country and is like it just kind of going through some hard times right now, you know, like 70s New York. But the thing is, like, Wayne Enterprises is headquartered in Gotham, and Wayne Enterprises is like the equivalent of Google in our world. You know what I'm saying? It's like it is a business.
So it's the jobs. You got to go where the jobs are at.
That's what I'm saying. And like that LexCorp got an office in Gotham, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Queen Enterprises got an office in Gotham. Like all these places got an office in Gotham, got their banks in Gotham because Wayne Enterprises is headquartered in Gotham. And it's like the second biggest company, or at least the second wealthiest company in the country in the comic book. So
see, there's got to be some money laundering, some bank fraud, because you can't tell me they can't do business in Metropolis. Nice bright sky, clean sidewalks, a Superman watching the city, and not just a crazy remote. Batman.
I'm not doing it. And I know this is Dark Knight, but if you think about, you know, the last Batman with Christian Bale, you think about it. Remember, it was like their version of Wall Street, right? Remember when like Bane and them came and took over? Like that's equivalent to, I guess, New York City, Wall Street, like the heart of the stock market, the business and everything. So I see what you're saying, but still not worth it.
Facts.
Not worth it.
So going back to the fun facts, last thing I have for you all is just some of the recognition. I'm sure you all may know or remember this, but The Dark Knight won 2 Oscars. But in addition to that, it also won Golden Globes. It's won the People's Choice Awards. I even think Heath Ledger won a African American Industry Award. Do you know how good you got to be a white boy to win an African American Industry Award? Throwing that out there. And last but not least, The Dark Knight won a Grammy. A Grammy. Man. It's 2 things away from being an EGOT in itself, a movie.
So he got a Soul Train Award, is what you said?
The Soul Train.
The equivalent of a Soul Train Award.
Oh, man. They had Heath Ledger on the cover of Jet Magazine, dog.
Do you know how good you have to be? It wasn't like he was like playing anything anonymous with Black culture. It was just like, nah, Black people really think he did a good job.
He did a really good. That boy's good. That boy is good.
That's it. That is it. It's amazing.
So, that's the ultimate cookout invite, dog. Just like nothing to do. Like, nothing to do with Black culture. It's the Joker. He just played the Joker, an evil white guy. And
mind you, there were Black actors in The Dark Knight, several who did great jobs.
Morgan Freeman was in it.
Nominated.
Yeah. NAACP called Morgan Freeman to come collect.
Oh man, Morgan Freeman, one of the best actors of all time. They're like, nah. Get the Heath Ledger. That's the one. That's the one.
With a 2-page feature in Essence. But yo, even with that, I was just going to mention, as you mentioned, Black actors in there just really quickly. I was like, Michael Jai White was in there, and I'm like,
yeah.
We can maybe get to this later because I know you're doing a history, but just a question to ponder. Is this the only movie he's ever died in? Like outside of, technically Spawn, because Spawn
technically died in Spawn, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, bruh, this might be the only movie he's ever died in.
You know what, Shannon? You might have a point.
Yeah.
I can't.
You might be right. Yeah. You might be right. Now he's made some movies that a lot of people haven't seen now.
Yeah.
That's true.
He got some B movies in there. We don't know about those, but as far as the ones that we do know, I don't think so. I don't think.
I'm sure there's a Blood and Bone,
any other one.
Blood and Bone 7 or something.
You know, and Nels, I showed you the picture. This brother is in Ninja Turtles 2 for a hot second.
Ninja Turtles 2, yes.
For a hot second, when what's his name, Kino, is trying to join the Foot Clan. He's like in the background, just like doing his thing, hand, chilling, but he's right there in the background.
Wow, I gotta go back and look at that.
Yeah, dog, it's a blink and you'll miss it, but he's right there.
Oh man, he's been grinding. He's been
working. Dog. Yeah. Turtles, Batman, Spawn.
So to round out fun facts, I more so just want to turn to I believe the first thing we should discuss, which is how we reacted to this movie when we saw it. And to do that, I want to paint a picture for the pop cult. I'm sure the majority of the pop cult is familiar with The Dark Knight and remembers 2008, but I just want to reiterate something because you may have forgot. Prior to The Dark Knight coming out, y'all need to remember this. There was a good 6 to 8 years without a good superhero movie until Blade came out, right? So we went a span of, and the bad movies were Batman movies. We just had 6 to 8 years of just bad superhero movies. You didn't have to do that, Mark. Of just bad superhero movies. And then Blade came out. And Blade was, as we all know, Blade was phenomenal. It led to X-Men. It led to Spider-Man. And at the time, Spider-Man 2 was one of the only movies we said that could rival the original Superman and the Tim Burton run of the Batman movies. Mm-hmm. And then 2008 happened. And in 2008, that 1 year, which again, society, like the industry thought it was going to be a down year for movies, we get two of the greatest superhero movies ever. We get Iron Man and The Dark Knight. And now and The Dark Knight won Oscars. You know what I'm saying? And arguably, this is still a part of the fun facts, even though we know this. It's not just that The Dark Knight is arguably the greatest superhero movie ever. Mark, you already said it. It's on the list of the best movies ever. If you look on it's in the discussion for the best movies ever, a superhero movie, which a couple years ago, we weren't even making good ones, to a point where like we are now at if it wasn't for The Dark Knight, if it wasn't for Iron Man in the year of 2008, I said it once and I'll say it again, we would not have had the MCU. Nope. The MCU, the 10-year span of the MCU would not have happened. It's because of this year that 2008 year that we were able to experience what we all just finished experiencing.
The other thing I want to quickly add, if you think about the year 2008, that is the year like when the recession hit again. So you got to think about like the country overall, like people are holding on to their coins. People are losing jobs. Like people are getting job offers rescinded that are coming out of school. The housing market is about to fall on top of itself. So the idea of taking money to go to a theater to watch a movie is even more of a big deal during that year than it is now. It isn't just like money you can throw away. It's like, I really got to go see this thing, do this thing. So I think it's even more of a crown that it can hold because people were spending, quote unquote, their hard-earned money to go see it. It wasn't just like another thing to do. And I think that's something to factor in as well. It gives it even more clout.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like one thing I want to say is the influence. And I'm going to say it was good and bad. Hollywood took some very bad lessons away from The Dark Knight. And y'all remember there was a span where everything was like, we'll make our Dark Knight version of this. We'll make it like The Dark Knight. And they were not nailing it. That being said, like it set a platform for like you can take these stories seriously. It doesn't have to always be campy. Like even I love the Raimi movies. They're a little campy, but that's cool. That's their thing. But like you can take a grounded approach to these characters and it will work. And like that with that, I'm going to say that there'd be no John Wick without something like The Dark Knight. Like it just set the platform for so many movies. But like it also did a lot of damage. There's a lot of copycats. I would say the DCEU for what it was is something new now, or going to be something new. Like a lot of that was just trying to capture like what The Dark Knight was, and I felt they missed it completely.
Yeah, and you think about the Grammy. You mentioned the Grammy deals. You think about the score, like that is applied to everything. Now you watch a preview for anything, and it has that growling bass and like the horns come in and the strings come in, and that is for everything. Even though like Marvel's the Avengers theme is clearly not the dark, but it's still in that same vein. Mm-hmm. I think that's another great example of how they set the tone, and people have done well with it. And to Mark's point, people have done really bad with it.
Facts. So I'm thinking, y'all, just thinking back to 2008. Walk me through your experience. You just walked out of the theater and just finished watching The Dark Knight, or home. I don't know how you watched The Dark Knight the first time you watched it, But what were your feelings and thoughts as you just took in this cinematic masterpiece?
I go first, right quick. I was like, we back, baby. Like that, like on some real because so for me, and I mean it might be common among many other people, but when I think of Batman, obviously the animated series was amazing, but thinking of Batman movies, to me the best one had been the Tim Burton, and especially like Batman 1. And then, you had Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, and they were like a little goofy. And it was, but for me, I'm like, I love superhero movies. I was gonna watch them anyway, but I knew they weren't great. It was still that original, Tim Burton version Batman. Loved it. And then, like you were saying, there weren't a lot of great superhero movies after that. And just to see that, I was like, I have seen something amazing that I honestly, I feel like I cannot fully comprehend this right now. Like I know what I saw on the screen. This was great, and we can talk about this and the action and the message. But this is something bigger than what this moment is, and that's what I felt like leaving out with. Guess I was right.
Yes. Oh, what about you?
Man, I just looked it up again. So opening weekend was July 18th, 2008. So it was summertime. And I know I saw it with my brother. I remember walking out. Well, one of the things I think I whispered to him was, I was like, everything looks so nice. And if you think about it, like even if you think about the Tim Burton Batman and stuff, which is, dope. But all of it, you could tell like the set was like a set that like somebody put together, but like these are like real buildings and like real hospitals and like the scenes and the shots. I'm like, this is a real city that they tore up, like in my mind, I'm thinking that. So that's number one. Like they really took this thing serious, like a big deal. That stuck with me. And I think the thing I took away from it was they really gave us more than what we asked for, because you go into it, at least I did, about the Joker. And so you're like, it's the Joker, right? And then you get Two-Face on the back end of it, right? And you're like, nobody saw that coming, right?
Nobody saw it coming.
Nobody saw that coming. And I think about that and I'm just like, man, they gave us like a bonus. I felt like we got like a movie and a half. So I thought that was great. And then the last thing I was like, this can go so many different directions now. And I was like, I gotta go see it again because it was just so amazing, man. It was a masterpiece. And I was like, man, they got it right. And to you guys' point, it had not been a good movie. Like I love X-Men. Like that's like my superhero, like 1A. And those movies were not that good. I tried to be really passionate about them, but then after seeing that, you realize that like those movies were not good. And then you like,
it changed the grading scale. Oh,
right. It did. I was like, damn, I've been like really giving mid like these awards all this time. They were not that good. So yeah, the bar just like went up.
That's real. Mark, do you want to tell the story? Do you want me to tell the story?
Well, we saw this together, right?
We did see this together.
Okay, let me go because all right. So me and Nels and a bunch of other people saw this movie, and I remember I was like, correct me if I'm wrong. I was like, yo, Dark Knight's coming out. Who's coming to see it? And it just the text like, I'm coming. And I was like, cool. I'm buying all the tickets. Pay me when you get there. Like I don't care. Like this is the event of the summer. We're all going to. It was like $90, right? So I was like, I hope y'all coming because I'm gonna be out $90. And I remember it was like that Seinfeld episode. I saved like Otis shared. I saved like 10 seats. I was like, seats taken. I was like, them kids forced off, seats taken, it's taken.
I think you had to like get a jacket at one place
like a jacket
here
down there, and like
and he was just like moving like this. And at one point, you just stopped caring. You're like, all right, if you get here, get here. If you don't get here, your seat's gone. I don't care.
But we all got there, and it was a blast, man. And just like I said, when I saw Into the Spider-Verse, my reaction was I was like, that's a movie. That is a movie. Like that is why I pay money and pay for this $18 popcorn and soda to see stuff like this. Like blown away. Just I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Otis, like you were saying, like the sets, like real tangible. I mean, but real sets. Like, there's a lot of like matte paintings and the Tim Burton stuff, which is cool for that environment. But this was like a real city and just gave a grittiness to Gotham. But I mean, just even that opening scene when it just that wide on the skyscape and we get the heist, and just no one's such a genius, man. Just the way that heist is set up, you get so much information when you go back. Like, you understand like how the Joker works, how he gets everyone to like betray each other, and just just the sound, just when that window like when the window bursts. I mean, so many good lines. I remember cheering. I remember like gasping. Like this movie got all the reactions out of me, man. Like, when the Joker's doing not interrogation, but when has that guy reading the note and he's on camera, like
growls.
Quiet, like
yeah,
dead quiet. I only remember, I'm sure like it's happened before. There's only one other time I remember the movie theater in my life being dead quiet, and that was in the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park. Like, I've never like heard a theater like dead silent before. And it was just, man, it was like a great experience, man. And one of my favorite, besides like this, it's like this, Scott Pilgrim, and like Step Up 3. Like,
yes,
like some of my favorite movie going experiences.
And the first 5 minutes of Transformers.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing beats that. So, Mark, I'm gonna further paint the picture in. So Mark did buy all those tickets for us, and we did all show up. But honestly, we didn't need to sit together because we did not talk to each other. There was maybe like 1 or 2 scenes where we just looked at each other. We were all in our own zones, quiet, looking straight forward, like focused on the movie. And I will remember this like probably for the rest of my life. When we walked out of that movie theater, nobody talked to each other. We were just walking out of the movie theater. No one said a word. We walked out, and I think the first, either I said it or you said it, Mark. The first, outside of like, we like mumbled like you trying to go to the bar or something like that. We like mumbled that. But like the first words that either I said or you said, Mark, I don't remember. I think I turned to you and I was like, did we just watch the greatest superhero movie ever? And Mark looked at me and said, yes, I think we did. And the rest of the night, we just talked about the movie.
Just talked about the movie. Nels, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. There was like maybe 8 or 10 of us, and we all like kind of stood together like, oh man. And then we all like, are we trying to see that again? And we had like a 5-minute discussion. It was like, all right, well, the last one's like 11 o'clock show. And then like we were gonna walk right back into that mug.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to make some adult decisions at that moment. We're like, dang, a couple of us had work the next day. It was real. So like, yeah, man, it was a thing. It was a thing. So I think it'd only be fitting, since we started talking about the movie, is to discuss some of our favorite lines from the movie. Because one thing about The Dark Knight, yes, it is arguably one of the greatest movies ever. But The Dark Knight has so many one-liners. Like ridiculous one line, and like almost every character drops a dope one line. So I'm curious on what are some of the lines, or even if there's like a scene in particular that you like that really sticks to you. What is that? And I'll actually start for y'all. And it's this: Harvey Dent said it, and then Batman ended the movie with it. You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. That bar, to me, is if I wanted to describe what the Dark Knight was, like the movie, what the Dark Knight movie is, it is that. If I want to describe Batman as a character throughout his entire comic book run, it is that line right there. Like, I think it is besides it just being a bar, it is a perfect description of who Batman is and how you have to like walk through Gotham, because folks are either heroes, but if you go around long enough, they're going to do some villain type stuff. All of them. So yeah, I thought it was a dope line.
And about the world today, like,
yes,
celebrities, like, think about like people that you thought were dope in the 90s and how we think about them now, or dope.
Ben Carson. Ben Carson.
Damn.
I'm gonna say Ben Carson was on path to probably have like a national Ben Carson day, like what gifted hands, all of that. Then live long enough to be a villain and go into politics.
He had Cuba Gooding make a TNT movie about him. Do you know how good of a black man you have to be for Cuba Gooding to make a whole movie about you?
And this was
It's a big
peak
deal.
Cuba. This is like I'm getting Oscars Cuba.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. What are the lines?
And like one that comes to mind, I don't know, some Alfred lines when he's talking to Bruce and he's talking about the guy in the jungle and he's like, some men just want to watch the world burn.
Mhm.
And I was like, whoo, like, because it like in that scene, like Bruce Batman, he's a criminal, Alfred, and I just got to figure out what he wants. And Alfred's like, man, I've been around for a long time, and some people are just like, you can't reason with like insanity, dog. It's just he just wants to watch the world burn, and he'll take you with him, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is wild. At this point, he was probably Batman for like what would y'all say, like 2 years or so? I think he mentions
Yeah.
it in the movie, but he was like he was hitting his stride with Batman, and like he kind of got it figured out, and then he runs into this force, and this is the first time he met someone that was just like utterly psychotic and just like desired chaos, and he had no idea what to do with it.
No,
Yeah, that's a dope
thought
line.
he thought he did. The thing is, he thought he did at first.
Mhm.
He thought it was a very linear path, just like every other one. And then that's a good quote from Alfred as well. Alfred has some tips in this one.
Yeah, he got some dope ones.
Yeah. Another one for me is when they were doing the interrogation scene where this is Batman and the Joker in the interrogation room. Just something so simple as Batman was, I think, throwing him against the wall, beating him, and Joker says, "You don't have any, or you have nothing to threaten me with," or
Yes,
something like
He's
that.
like, you have nothing to threaten me with, nothing to do with all your strength.
Yes. And that's like that's like a thing said, but like when you think about that, I'm like, what do you do with somebody like that? Where it's like there's they're going for chaos, whatever it is they want to do. And even this is essentially a person who has nothing to lose. Like, what do you do with that? And I know sometimes we talk about it, or in general, in the sports world, we sort of think about it in the positive. Like, this team wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs. They got nothing to lose. And you look at it like, wow, like they could be a Cinderella story or whatever in a positive way. But what do you do when it is the reverse, something in the negative? This person who, I'm here to do bad, and there's nothing you can threaten me with. Oh, you're gonna put me in jail? Like, not worried about that. You gonna like, there's nothing you can take away from me. I don't care about the things that y'all care about, like money,
Yeah.
loved ones. I'm just here to, like you said, watch it burn. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do with that? And so to me, that was a bar. Like, you have nothing to threaten me with.
Yeah, it made him really dangerous. And you couldn't figure him out. And it was different from the way that we saw other Jokers, from cartoons to even the Tim Burton one. Cause like, like even like when it was Jack, playing Joker, it was like he was still like about money and like getting his revenge from the mob that threw him into the pit to begin with. Like it was a little bit of like, okay, this is what he's going after, right? Or he wants to kill Batman at least. But like the Joker wasn't even, I think
He's
one of
still
the
a gangster though.
yeah,
Like
he was
Jack
still a
Nicholson, he was
gangster.
still very much so a gangster. He was just a goofy gangster that you
Right,
couldn't really
exactly.
understand. Yeah, I
Exactly. And
feel
there
you.
was like a quote, like I think in that same scene when he was like, "Do you want to kill me?" And Joker was like, "No, I don't want to kill you." He was like, "I need you. Like you complete."
Yeah. He's like, I don't want
Right.
to kill you.
Yeah.
He's like, what do I do without you? You
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Um, a quote that stuck out to me, obviously like the famous one everyone says is like, "Why so serious?" Like
hmm
that is, I mean, for forever, like that whole scene, he explained it and then he talks about the scars because that's the first time we've seen the Joker in that way. Like before, the Joker was just, lipstick and some makeup and it wasn't like a thing. But like this dude had literal scar. Like that was just like the storytelling behind it. And it showed, in my opinion, how it wasn't just the goofy Joker. It was this rage because he went from like ha 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 telling the story, and then he said it again, and he like growled and did that like very
Yeah.
angry, deranged thing. You just like yo, like it gives you chills. So that's the other one I think about is when Alfred's really trying to put Bruce on the game and Bruce is really not picking up, and he gives him that story about it was like some bandits or something like in a forest. And he was like, we couldn't figure it out. And so he was like, what did we do? Like, did you catch him? And Alfred's like, yeah. And what did you do? He was like, we burnt the forest down. Like
that was so chilling when he said that.
Yeah, like that's the only way we could have dealt with this madness, was just to destroy everything. That's the only way we could win.
Right.
And like
he was trying to put him on, like, yo, you're gonna have to do some stuff that you ain't, that's outside of the code of the game, like for you to win this thing. And then it was like the one towards the end when pretty much like Batman was like, sometimes people deserve more than the truth. They deserve to have their faith rewarded. That was deep to me. And like when at that age, because like it's like 15 years ago, I was like, nah, bro, you gotta tell the truth. But now like I'm older, so I'm like, man, just let people live in the lie sometimes.
Yeah. But it's interesting because in the next movie, I feel like the movie punishes Gordon and Batman for making that decision.
Yeah.
So it's like, what what are you trying to say?
It was the right decision, though. It was the right decision. Yeah, because that was what they had 5 years. Think about this: 5 years of peace in Gotham. In Gotham City.
It's like a century.
He didn't have to dress up as Batman for 5 years. I've read a lot of Batman comic books. I've read a lot. There has never been a time where he went 5 years willingly, 5 years willingly, not dressing up as Batman. Like either someone
breaking some collarbones on the
on the low,
on the sneak tip. You know what I'm saying?
This is the no smoking section.
He might put the belt on. You know what I'm saying? Do a little light work.
Like, he had on the work. He had on the trench coat. He just put the collar on. Just choke somebody out.
No bicycles on the sidewalk. Yeah. Yo, one that I really like, and it just like, I don't know why it stuck with me, but when I think it's after they think Gordon's dead, and Bruce is like, what would you have me do, Alfred? And he's like, endure, Master Wayne. And he says something like, take it, like they'll hate you, but that's the point of Batman, And I was like, dang, it's like you can't you can't give in to terror. Like you just can't. And they will hate you, but this is the right thing to do. And then even Dent says something at that press conference where he's like, the Batman will answer for his crimes, but to us, not to this terrorist, And then this was only a couple years. We were still like fresh. 9/11 was in people's heads, and you know what I'm saying. So like this definitely was hitting home for a lot of people.
Mark, I think to your point, like I will say with this Alfred, at least compared to all the live action Alfreds, this Alfred really got the idea of Batman and was coaching him and leading him and guiding him towards the idea of what Batman could do. Like he kind of got it versus like trying to get him to stop, just being like as an advisor to help him solve the crimes. It was just like, nah, I know what you have to become. And it pains me because I know you have to become this thing, but I'm gonna at least tell you how to do it, because this is how the idea that you said, this is how you actually get it done. I don't think there's been an Alfred to ever do that. On that level anyway.
Yeah. Now I think of I think with Commissioner Gordon in that as well, just how he and Alfred, like you were saying, I feel like they both sort of they get it. But a line that stands out too is essentially when they said Batman is the hero we deserve, not the hero we need. Or was it hero we need? But anyway, they were like, he's the hero we deserve, not the one we need. And I'm like, because in reality, people are like, I want this bright figure of hope that like makes me happy, and it's like, yeah, this is the thing. And it's like, that's what you want, or maybe what you need to make you feel good, but what you actually deserve is just somebody that's going to clean up the streets, keep you safe, and essentially you're not going to get both. So what you deserve is that, so you get what you deserve, and it's not the bright hopeful figure. And I'm like, man,
not
like
Superman. It's not Metropolis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This ain't Metropolis.
This ain't Metropolis.
and like as I get older, man, my I am kind of like anti-nihilism. I feel like there's no place for it, especially in the world we live today. So the quote from Dent where he's like, it's the darkest before the dawn, and I promise you the dawn is coming. I was like, like people need to hear that today. Like, like people, I feel like everyone's so quick to just like give up or just not even care. You know what I mean? And like, nah, it's like you gotta like you can't give up. You can't not care. You gotta like do something, and yeah, this movie is just like relevant even today.
Dent had the best one-liners. Like Dent was killing them with one-liners in this movie. The beautiful thing. So, how about this, y'all? Let's talk about why this is the greatest superhero movie.
Well, hey, Nels, before can I?
Oh, okay. Well, then let me finish with my thought on Harvey Dent, and then I'll let you go. Hold on to it, Mark. This is what I want to say about Harvey Dent. One of the reasons I appreciate this movie so much is because for most of us who are familiar with the Batman lore, we know that like at one point Harvey Dent was the DA and he was cool with Bruce, but now he's just Two-Face and he flips a coin and everything comes in twos with Two-Face. He's just a weird, campy guy. But like this movie nails how like the city had so much hope on this dude. Like he was actually gonna be their legitimate hero. Because Batman is an illegitimate hero. Like he is a vigilante. There was one non-corrupt person within the system who was fighting for Gotham besides Gordon. Like the one other person who could like really use the law, and it was Harvey Dent, and he was uncorruptible. Like no one could influence him. The Maronis, like what's his name? Penguin, like nobody could get to him. Nobody can convince him. And his best friend was Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? And like when he became Two-Face, Gotham felt like they failed as a city because the one hero they had that they could like be proud of became corrupted in the city, and the city crumpled because of that. And I feel like this movie did the best job at explaining that lore compared to all the other mediums that we have with Batman. Just how like the power of like who Harvey Dent was and how horrendous it became because he became Two-Face.
Yeah. And it's like they in this movie, they don't even let the citizens of Gotham know he became Two-Face. Like that, like, no, we're squashing that, blame it on me, I did this. Because like you said, the image of Dent was too powerful for Gotham to lose. That was the only thing I wanted to say about my two like funny, not even funny, but lines I just love. Morgan Freeman said like, "That's more like it, Mr. Wayne." Like I don't, that joint just hits so nice. He's just, and then shout out to my boy. What is his name? Is it the bank teller? He was in.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. Yo, your friends are dead.
Yo, of course a bank manager in Gotham knows how to handle a sawed-off shotty. Of course.
He was cooking. He was cooking. But of course, like in my mind, I remember watching that scene every time I see it, and I literally say in my head every time, "This is not your money." Like I'm always like, "Bruh, it's not your money." Just like like I never understand it from like banks or like stores or anything. Like, bro, this isn't your stuff. Like, and even if it is, dog, like you got insurance. Like, don't do it.
Nah, bro. Here's the thing. That wasn't like some parts of that bank was a real bank. That was the stash spot for the gangsters. So he's like, your friends are dead. That was the mobster in him talking.
You know what money you're taking?
Yeah.
That wasn't the FDIC confidence. That was like, nah, they're gonna come after me if this money is gone.
I'm thinking William Fichtner. That's the dude's name.
Yeah.
I love that line.
Which I was like, that was pretty big because like he's been in a lot of things, and to really just be like, hey, we only need you for the first 5 minutes of the movie. I'm like, what? Like, and I mean, obviously they had a nice, they had a
give
nice
me the best
cast.
line.
Yeah,
give me the best line.
Yeah. And it just shows how the movie just came in cooking. I mean, he's firing off that shotgun. What, 8 minutes in?
Maybe less than that.
Maybe less than that. And he's like it's already like go time. Now that was good. I think Another one I just thought about was I think it's like the first time the Joker and the Batman see each other. I think is when the Joker went to that fundraiser party or whatever, and like stopped the party, and he jacks up Rachel. He's like yanking on her and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you got a little fight, I love that or I like that," and then you hear a voice like off the screen, and it's like, "Oh, but then you gonna love me," and you like,
yeah, that was a good.
It's like, yeah,
That was great. Yes.
and then you're like, here we go, like they finally meet because like it's been all this stuff going on. You're like, is Batman ever gonna catch up with him? So I remember,
let her go.
Like,
what a poor choice of words. Like I love that scene because the Joker was like, you know what, I wasn't gonna let her go, but like I kind of have to now. So
yeah,
so petty. The Joker's so petty, yo.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Oh man.
So we have talked about how in multiple industries and multiple like publications, The Dark Knight is considered one of the best, if not the best, superhero movie and one of the greatest movies ever made. I'm going. What I would like to talk about is, in your defense, where do you put The Dark Knight, and why do you put it there, and why do you believe it has a lot of this lore? I'll quickly say before we jump in, Mark, I'm gonna just throw this out there. I think we were some of the first people to ever say that The Dark Knight was the greatest superhero movie ever. Like, we said it out of the theater, and we said it proudly for at least 2 years before I think I started hearing folks being like, you know what, I think it is the greatest movie ever.
For like a decade, it was our like standard. We walk out of a movie and be like, that was good. Wasn't no Dark Knight.
Yep. Yep.
That was the standard.
Yep. That became a phrase, a catchphrase after a movie.
Marvel movie, Avengers. We're like, man, that was good. Wasn't no Dark Knight.
Which is tough because I'm like, when we look at that standard, it's like this dude can hoop, like he's in the NBA superstar, but it ain't Michael Jordan though, or it ain't LeBron. But
just to calm you down, set your expectations straight. He's great. He's not the GOAT now. He's great.
Yeah. He's nice.
But like legit, it could be whoever else is dropping 30 points a game, this and that. And it's like, and yet still, it is not Jordan or LeBron or. But I feel you on that though. Like that.
I think some of it too, and this is not taken away from The Dark Knight, but I think the other thing about it is the advantage is you're first. And when you're the first to do something on that scale and in that style, regardless of what people had in mind 5 years later, 10 years later, it don't matter because you did it first and you executed it first and you thought of it first. And I think that's part of it too. And I think we opened up and talked about how it influenced so many different styles of cinema, like not even superhero. Like the other thing, like I think you said it more, like it's a great movie. Like take superhero out, it's a great movie. It has character development. It has, it challenges you with your thoughts about humanity. Like the whole scene with the bomb, and it's like, should it be the inmates or should it be the citizens?
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff, right? And like you're living that, and it challenges you on that. And you think about Batman. When it was Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, there were no scenes that made you think about that at all. Get the bad guy, and maybe he'll kill him. Maybe Robin will kill Two-Face, killing his parents, or maybe he won't. I don't know. But like that was it. But this was so much more complex. So yeah.
And like to touch on that, Otis, a lot of what we heard when this movie came out, it was like, well, it's only good because of Heath Ledger, because he was so good in it. That's why everyone thinks it's the greatest of all time. That's why this. I'm gonna say, like, yo, you take out the Joker in this movie, I feel like this is still a solid like 8 out of 10 movie without Heath Ledger's performance. It makes it like a perfect, damn near perfect movie, with that iconic performance. Without it, it's still a solid like B+, high B+ movie.
You could have not had Two-Face at all.
That's what I said. It was a bonus.
That's what you said. This still might be the greatest superhero movie, even without the entire Two-Face part.
And even thinking of comparisons, there will continually be direct comparisons because I'm like,
Mhm.
so let's say, I don't know, let's say Goodfellas 2, anything like that. You know, like we can be like, okay, amazing movie. And there might be some like mob related movies and things after that. But you know, like let's say if you are saying that is the best movie ever, you know, some people may say that is the best movie ever. If you're saying that, you still have this sort of this modifier where you're like, I mean, you know, there's this, and I mean, obviously it's not gonna be the same, but this is every single Batman is gonna be compared to this Batman though. Every
Mhm.
single Joker is gonna, and you know they're gonna continually use Joker, you know, throughout Batman related movies. That was gonna be like, but is it Heath Ledger's Joker? And you know, so I love that it does that. It is such an amazing movie. And even when we make these comparisons, they will be direct comparisons. We won't really have to say well, you know, this is different because, you know, it's not, this one isn't really a superhero movie. It's going to be Joker to Joker, you know, Batman to this
Mhm.
Batman, this Alfred to that Alfred. So I think like that's amazing too.
Speaking of Alfred, is the best Alfred you get in this one
Yes.
as well.
Michael Caine.
Michael
Ooh.
Caine, like you can't, like the accent, the humor, the jokes, the
Yeah.
sarcasm, like you can't beat it. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I know we don't get a lot of Lucius Fox lore out here in the world, but to get Morgan Freeman to
Mm-hmm.
play Lucius Fox, like Christopher Nolan made a deal with somebody bad
Yeah.
to get that. Like, come
Yeah.
on, bro.
And even Lucius had his shine in this movie when a homeboy is trying to blackmail him. He's like, I want $10 million a year, and he's like, let me get this straight, young blood. He's like, he's like, you think your boss is Batman, and you're going to blackmail this person?
This
Like,
man fights
Good luck.
folks in Gotham, criminals with his
you
bare
know where you
hands, and
live?
he's a billionaire.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't live in Metropolis. We live in Gotham, and he goes out for fun to beat these people up.
You see, dude was like, you know, you right. It does
Yeah,
sound
he's like,
when you say it out.
he's like, you keep all this. You just, I'm gonna go back to work.
Yeah. Even though he was spot on.
So I have like three things. This is about to be my soapbox moment. I have like three things on why I think this is one of the best movies ever. The first is there's no waste in the movie. Like it's one of those times where I could say like this was a perfect movie. Like I just watched a perfect movie. I said that with like Back to the Future. There's a few other ones out there. I think Friday's close, but that's for another day. But there was no waste in The Dark Knight. It was like perfect from beginning to end. I think the other thing is like part of the reason this is held to such light is if you take a step back, this is the greatest movie of one of the greatest fictional characters of all time. And one of the greatest fictional villains of all time. It's not even like before this movie was even thought of, Batman and Joker are, when you talk about the list of like greatest fictional characters, greatest fictional heroes, greatest fictional villains, you're mentioning the name in the top 5. If you don't, somebody's gonna ask you why you didn't. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
the
Like
number one.
it's
I don't even say it's top 5. They're the number one, villain,
Protagonist,
competitors.
antagonist,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like that's it. Like if you said Superman, like you can ask like 3 or 4 people, they'll give you 3 or 4 different things. Like same
yeah,
thing for even you go like down the Marvel thing. Like maybe you can say Professor as a Magneto, like maybe that's like a given. But other than that, like
yeah,
even Spider-Man, right? Like we just saw a masterpiece in Spider-Man where you saw 3 of his villains, all 3 or 4 of his villains all come together. And you can't argue which one is the one, right?
yeah,
But Batman, like it was Joker was 1A, and then everybody else got in where they fit in. Yeah,
yeah.
I know I cut you off, but like I don't even think it's top 5. Like it is known. It's
Yeah.
Batman and Joker. That's Carolina dude. Like
facts. Thank you.
Facts, yeah,
It
that's
is the
straight up
rivalry.
fact.
yeah, that's
You got it.
Michigan, Ohio State. Like there's no
Yeah.
like
Cat
that's
Williams,
what it
Steve
is.
Harvey, like top tier protagonist, antagonist.
Right.
I don't think there's any, man. That's great. Like the competition is what, maybe Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. I don't, and I it don't got as many stories as Joker or Batman. Damn, that's a good point. My last point is this.
Tom and Jerry.
Okay, there you go.
Meteor Man and the Gold Gang.
Golden Lords.
Baby Lords.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, what were they, Golden Lords? Yeah.
We found number one. We found number one. You gotta share it. So I think another reason, just speaking about the great one, I argue he's the greatest comic book villain. And the only reason he got the throne is because Dr. Doom hasn't been done well. And as soon as he does, we'll start to have a competition about the true number one villain of all time in comic books. I digress. In all the mediums we have seen the Joker before this movie, we've never really saw a true comparison to like the horrible Joker, like the menace Joker. Mm-hmm. Like we've gotten the 80s golden era, like campy Joker and like the super mobster one that was in like the mid 80s and like the really smart conniving one that we got through Frank Miller's runs, but we didn't get the menace. We didn't get the Joker that like took a crowbar and beat the hell out of Robin to death. We never got that Joker. We didn't get the Joker that shot the commissioner's daughter in her living room like enough times to have her become a paraplegic. Like we never really got that Joker until this one. Like until the Dark Knight. It's like this is why you see when Joker comes to town, Gotham's like high alert, bat signals on every night. Like hide your kids, hide your wife. Joker's in town. There was one comic book run. The Joker went to the police station, turned off the lights, and started just randomly killing cops. Being like for a run. And that was his welcome back to Gotham after like being gone for like 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like we never really had that Joker until.
Why would you live in this city? Why? Like, why?
The Joker is a menace.
You know what I want to see though? What was he doing for those 2 or 3 years? Like, I want to see a comic book series. Like, what were you doing for those 2
You know what he's doing, Otis? He was having a nice time, Central City, just like enjoying the parks, like living a nice, quiet life.
Yeah, because he wasn't terrorizing anybody.
But something about Gotham, he's like, he starts like changing.
I need it.
Not the worst.
Bro, you say he's taking vacations from his villainy in Gotham because it's so intense.
He probably driving in Central City and he accidentally cut somebody off. He wait for somebody to honk the horn and yell at him, and then they're like, "Oh, it's okay." And he's like, "This ain't right." To go back to Gotham where people are.
He sees his superheroes in broad daylight with actual superpowers, being nice and friendly to everybody, smiling. At night, there's no crime. Everybody's just home sleeping.
You know what though? Low key, that is a big curveball. I didn't even think you're right. Like Batman has no like superpowers. So that's also like it's like man on man versus everything else. Yeah.
He's like Gotham ain't good enough to have a real superhero.
And you know, I'd be so salty if I lived in Gotham because I'd be like, yo, you know Superman. Like you're in the Justice League, Batman. Like can you like not help us out?
Send for help. You're Martian Manhunter. Like
you know a literal wizard. You know a wizard.
My cousin live in Central City. It is not that bad, bro. They just got a shark. And like he can't move that fast. You just stay away from the shark. Like send some people over here, please.
I feel like in Metropolis, people are like, oh, Superman at it again. Look at him fighting the parasite. And they just like
But for what it's worth though, like you know, Metropolis, you can get some collateral damage that can ruin your day too. Like
when it's bad, Metropolis coming. Is bad. Yeah,
bro. It becomes a war zone when Superman fights, and you don't know when it's gonna end. Spaceships regularly come to Metropolis. I don't know if I'm moving to Metropolis. I'm not saying Gotham is great, but that's a whole nother set of problems that I don't know I want the smoke for.
Yeah, because at least the Man of Steel that we got, you know, in the movies, he's like, you know, I don't want to kill people. He's like, but I blow stuff up, and if you die due to collateral damage, I mean, so be it.
If you eating in this IHOP, woo boy, like
I was to say, you don't want to
Yeah.
kill people, but you get like 15 bodies a fight, and we don't even talk about that.
Yeah. It's like he's like, but technically, I didn't kill anyone.
I didn't tell anyone.
It wasn't me. It was
This man has people across the universe coming to his town just for the smoke. They're like, I heard you the biggest, baddest. This is high school. This is high school. You got the hardest, angriest brother from that high school coming to your high school. See me, like, I heard you were a monster.
But you know what, Nels? I feel like in Metropolis, I feel like there's an infrastructure for that. There's probably like bunkers, Star Labs or something. But like, I'm like, yo, you taking your son to a baseball game in Gotham, of all of a sudden like, hello everybody, you are now like, you're like, come on, bro. This is my visitation. This is the only time I get to see my son. And now
I know, yeah, like I know we talking Dark Knight, but like with Bane, like the whole stadium went in, like.
I'm just trying to take my son to a baseball. I get one day a week.
You know how much I saved up for these tickets? I just saw Hines Ward take it to the house.
Yeah.
I can't even.
What would have been bad? It's like, bro, this was a preseason game, dude.
man.
It was a preseason.
You can't do nothing to Gotham, dog. You know what? Let's go to that restaurant for little Kiki's graduation party. It's like the Riddler. Like, damn. I'm just trying to live, dog.
Dog, I'm really realizing how salty Gotham residents are. You got towns where the superhero is a space cop who has a ring that can become anything he imagines just because he feels like he's a beast like that. Like,
yeah. Where does Green Lantern live? What's its city?
Cape Coast or Coast City. City. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So like you got they are looking and seeing these towns with a dude who is fast, like can break the sound barrier, a literal super being. Even like London got Wonder Woman. Like you seeing these other towns have like gods, like amazing people. And your town that is going through it got a dude with a team of kids that only children that only come out at night. Like, I know you salty. And you got a menace like the Joker coming to town every now and then. You never know when he coming to do all that crazy stuff that I talked about. Like, come on, bro. I know they're upset.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, speaking of collateral damage, is like in all the other superheroes when they have powers, like if I fall out of this building, like Superman gonna catch me, Flash is gonna figure it out, Green Lantern gonna like make a parachute for me or something. Like you falling out a window ain't no different than your mama being out here. Like Batman can't do shit.
I hope one of them kids is watching this.
like if you weigh like 220, like 220 and up, like Batman can't catch you, bro.
Got enough for you.
Like, well, shit, like
got enough for you. You better hope Superman's in town.
Yeah,
that's
how much
all
Batman
you got.
weigh? How much we say Batman weigh? Like what? Like a two?
I give him 210.
210, yeah.
215. So yeah, what if you a heavyweight, like you 275, you know what I mean? And you falling out this weight.
And it comes down to politics too in Gotham. Like I'm like, who's paying for that spotlight? Whose tax money paid for that damn bat light on top of the roof when my kids can't get a school bus to come pick us up?
That flashlight coming on every now and then. That's a big spotlight.
Who's paying for that? You know what I'm saying?
And they gotta change the light bulbs too. That's a lot of money going into that light.
Batman don't never come down here to this neighborhood on recycling day, but he up there taking care of all this other stuff up there. We got gangs down here too. Ain't wearing no makeup, but we got gangs down here too.
Ain't got no makeup on, but they still terrorize.
Batman, they came to this community center one time.
And he came for some information. He didn't even fight no crime. He came to find out where the Joker was, and then he left.
Broke my nephew's legs, asking him questions about where the Riddler was at. That boy don't know Riddler.
Oh,
Little Jamarcus still ain't right.
Right. Batman was it
Oh,
when he dropped
stop.
Buddy off the roof? Remember that? Like he was trying to get some information. He dropped
Yeah,
somebody off.
Maroni
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It broke
broke
his
his
leg.
leg.
Like, yeah, Batman doing that
And
outside the boys club.
even
Salvation
that,
Army.
even that, like, like Batman's the good guy. You in a nightclub, hey girl, hey, what's up? Oh yeah, douche, douche. It's like, what is going on? People screaming. You just a guy in a back suit just beating the crap out of people. You're like, man, this is my only night off. I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to live. Dog.
Oh my
It's literally like how
goodness.
you would feel when you went out and then like people start fighting at the club, but like times 20 because you like this is not gonna calm down. Like somebody about to start shooting and then like somebody gonna blow something up. My car is probably already like destroyed outside. Like I smell gas already. Like
Can't live a decent life, man. That's a
I don't
commuter
think
city.
that was a club and he was just punching people.
He's
Like
just punching
not
people.
everybody was in that gang that was in that club. That was a club.
Yeah.
So he was knocking somebody out who just wanted to go out for a good time.
Like, how do you
Damn,
continue your
Batman.
night after that? You know, how do you?
No,
How do you?
Batman punch you in the face. I'm going home.
Going home, dog.
I got a
That's the
broken
end of the
jaw.
night for me. I'm done.
Like,
all I
I
was
came
doing
out here.
was
I
go
was
get the
trying to
next round of
swag
drinks.
surf, and I got a broken jaw. Like, what in the world?
I want to go get a round of drinks, and this dude bumped me too hard. I turned around, didn't know it was Batman, but then when I realized it was too late. Like
Batman showing up to the Howard Homecoming, just
homecoming step show, here for answers.
ruin the whole step show.
I don't care about omegas, kappas, alphas, sigmas.
Then it becomes a hate crime.
Agrees. None of them, bruh.
Yo,
Oh.
the crazy thing is, some folks would think he's part of the show. Oh, the Deltas are really showing off this year. They got this whole vigilante doing part of the show. Oh man,
They even look scared. They even look scared on their face.
Oh man.
So y'all, I got one other thing for why this is the greatest superhero movie ever, and then I'm curious if y'all got anything else. The last thing I got is y'all's nephew Ian, who is 6 years old. He is far too young to be watching this movie, but his father is Niels R.Y., so he was watching this movie with me. Ian only saw 10 minutes of this movie. It wasn't like it was like 10 minutes in the middle of the movie. He saw 10 minutes. And as I turned the TV off, just because we had to go do something else, he said, "This is the greatest movie ever." This six-year-old, my son lost his mind. He saw 10 minutes of The Dark Knight and did not know what to do with it. So he walked away like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. This man grew up with like, he always wondered why I like Batman, because like he's grown up on Black Panther and Spider-Man. It's been that. Black Panther and Spider-Man. He saw 10 minutes of The Dark Knight and was like, I get it. I get it. I understand it. I want more of it. Please, Daddy, let me watch some more. Like so I think that is evidence enough that there's got to be something special about this movie that it could blow a 6-year-old's mind and say from the jump that it's the greatest movie ever.
I think it goes back to what you said, Nels. There is zero waste in this movie. Like everything is interesting. Like even the heist, before Batman even shows up, this movie is like very interesting, very like it grabs your attention. The performances, like everyone in here is like bringing their A game. I mean, Jeffrey Wright, he did his thing. I think Gary Olsen will always be Commissioner Gordon in my mind, but it's like too good. It's just too good. Like everything, the lighting, the sets, the props, the makeup, it's just all perfect. It's just like they all came to work and like, man, we really got something here. And it all worked. It's just lightning in a bottle. you know, and it happens. It happens in cinema all the time. But like you say, you have the greatest, maybe greatest superhero, probably the most recognizable fictional character in existence, and you gave him this director who, you know, you're like, do what you want. And we said this before. Nolan is the rich man's Michael Bay. And if Michael Bay doesn't do anything, he puts butts in the seat. So like Nolan could do the same.
Facts.
Absolutely.
And you had and Debo was in this, and like even
Debo, yes.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, yo. Debo gave us a scene.
Yeah, and killed it.
He whispered the entire time. He whispered.
Do that detonator. So make me mad. You know, like
I do what you said it did 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Give
And
me
then he
the
did the
give
deep,
it
and
to
then he
me.
did the deep stairway reflection. He was like,
All the brothers started circling around him. With the head
somebody like when that scene ended, somebody was like, "Sing,
Ding, yes.
Acting.
But it's like, "Dang, I'm shooting gold."
What was it that Uncle Phil said? The thing like in real life, he was like, that was an actor. Or
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll add to that, though, when you talk about, because like some people, obviously, when we talk about the greatest superhero movies, they're gonna go into the MCU, and you get into Infinity War, Endgame, like all of those. I do think those all have like the weight, and that's a whole different conversation for another day. But the thing that those movies have is that there was a build up to get there. And this is literally movie number 2 of Christian Bale as Batman, right? We just had right. So, and honestly, that first one was like, hey, this is like an intro, and it was, you know,
it was
wasn't,
decent, you know,
it was decent, but it wasn't
right.
like, yeah, it wasn't even like, let's get. I wasn't excited after that. I was like, okay, here we go. We got a new Batman. Let's see where we go with this one. Like, cool, right? Because by this time, we already have George Clooney, Val Kilmer, and Michael Keaton. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Maybe not.
Ben Affleck. No, wait, sorry, that's after.
No, that
this.
was after
They
this.
came after. Maybe that was it. It was just Val.
Yeah.
The TV show.
Adam West.
Adam West, yeah.
Oh yeah, Adam West, which is a totally different Batman. It was daytime Batman. Like all the show was always during the day, which is why it was easy for me to watch it. Scary ass as a kid. But yeah, like this really, if you think about it, it accomplished this as with no background, no help, no bill. Like we landed this on shot number 1, right? Like it's nothing, it was not standing on the shoulders of anything. It stood alone and was able to deliver on that. And I think that's another thing you give to yourself. It's almost like we talk about sports analogy, it's like this dude who won a championship like on his own versus dude who wins a championship with like a super team to like get there. Like, it's a little bit of that is what I think.
Yeah. And I'll say the pacing is, it's a 2.5 hour movie. It does not feel like a 2.5 hour movie. It's like pacing. Everything leads to something else, and that's the one thing that like most movies don't get. Like your action scenes, every action scene in this movie leads to a dramatic moment.
Yeah, it never slows down.
It never slows down. It's like
it doesn't have any slow moments.
You know, when Batman first appears, you know, and then Rachel's thrown off that building, that leads to a dramatic moment. And then when Dent gives himself up in that whole chase, that leads us into, you know, the whole Harvey and Rachel getting kidnapped. It's like it just keeps going. And I will say, on a rewatch, if I have any criticisms, I do think the Dent turn is kind of quick. Like he's like in the hospital, and as soon as Gordon comes to visit him, he's like, how do you like my villain voice, Gordon? You know, he's already like kind of Two-Face already. I mean, it's fine, it works, but yo, fellas, one thing that rewatching it, I was like, man, the part when the Joker gets caught, I was like, man, I would have loved to seen like this turned kind of into a courtroom drama with the Joker on trial. And like Dent as the prosecutor, and like see where that would go, and
that would have been good.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, that would have been nice, but we don't got time for that, you know. But if I could change anything, I was like, I would have loved to see that and see the Joker play this game and break out during his hearing.
Yeah.
And seeing him on the stand would have been, like that would have been hilarious. I mean, it would have been hilarious because I know there would have been funny stuff like that. But like you're saying too, I think just the mind games that he would have played with prosecutor, the judge, the jury, that would have been crazy.
It'd
And
been
he would have
cool.
gave like a speech of all speeches that would have made everybody think about themselves.
Yeah.
I killed 25 people yesterday, but what about you?
Yeah. They
He's
would
gonna be
like,
like, he's gonna be like, I know I killed him. You know I killed him, and I just told you I killed him. Yet you all are so stubborn. You're literally gonna sit here for the next hour and debate if I did it and what to give me. And that is why y'all are the crazy ones. Like he's gonna say some stuff like that.
yeah,
Blow their mind.
they'd be like, are we gonna let him go? like, they'd be like, nah, well, maybe,
Get that Nino Brown speech. Stay bigger than the Joker.
He would absolutely do that. He'd quote bar for bar Nino Brown. Oh man.
Hey, the thing about the Joker too, like his premise also was like people ain't shit. Like that's really what he likes.
Yeah.
Like Bane did too, but like Joker did too. He's like, everybody's corrupt. Like, and that was his whole thing with Harvey. He's like, I'm gonna prove to y'all, like, the most precious thing you have in the world can get dirty and do dirty things in this city. And no matter who you are, it's in everybody. Hence why he tried to make those people on the ferry murderers of the people in prison. Because he's like, you think you're better than them, so you're going to push the button to blow them up. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it is funny looking back. I always, because it's like, this movie saying like, what are you willing to give up? What even Maroni is like, he's like, you got one rule and you got to break that rule if you're going to beat the Joker. So Batman's whole thing, this movie's like, I'm not breaking my rule, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, I remember even seeing this, I thought it was a tad weak when his big like rule break was he made like the sonar thing, right? And Fox is like, this is wrong, Mr. Wayne. I'm like, all right, man. Look, I get it. Batman's selling data to third parties, but like,
resign.
Yeah, you gonna like this man is literally about to blow up like 500 people. Lucius, like, chill, dog. Like,
he's like, I don't know. Privacy.
Privacy is his.
This is my boundary. This is the line.
You ain't seen my he said you ain't seen my search history.
Voyeurism. This is
VPN, dog. He's like,
he said, you don't know who I'm getting down over here, bro. You don't want to know the kind of stuff I look at night. So,
hey, no bull, Otis. He was scared about getting in. So he's like, this is wrong, Mr. Wayne, and I will no longer be here. People are like literally on fire, like, help Batman. Help.
And he deleting his history. He like,
putting anything that was out there on like an external hard drive. He was like, I'm carrying this one.
Right. Like some of this stuff I might want to look at later, but
I would say again, asking the question like, why do you feel it's the best or up there? To me, it is all the things that we've mentioned, the action scenes, the pacing, all of these things. But to me, like one of the messages and I mean, and this was big. And again, as we talk about reputation. So like reputation was huge in this because, we look at Harvey and, and everything. And I think what was so big was because, again, when we think of reputation, in many cases, we think of our own reputation and what that means for us. If you have a good reputation, I guess what people like you're more likely to get certain jobs and opportunities and things like that. But it flips it and it's like, what does your reputation mean for other people? And so you never know how much you mean to other people, and again, because I'm like, with Harvey, it was like, yes, good reputation for you, but what this means for the city, you doing well is hope and all of that. And so I'm like, it makes you reflect on that as a person too, because you're like, yes, I want to have a great reputation, but also like, if I stumble, if I fall, whatever, how do my kids look at me? What does that mean for them now? What does that mean to other people who are saying, oh man, I would have tried this thing, But man, if he can't do it, or if he messed up, I ain't gonna try that, you know. So it's like, to me, that was huge to reflect on reputation, sort of on in a, I guess, an external way, what it means for others.
Yeah. And nah, Shannon, you hit it. Like that reputation was so valuable. There's a small scene I love where they're about to go and Joker's got the hostages dressed as like the clowns or whatever, and Batman's like, I need 5 minutes, and Gordon's like, he's like, no, 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 like we can't, like we're going in. He's like, we have to save Dent. I have to save Dent. Like it's that important to him. He feels like a failure because he knows like, no, we gotta find Dent. Dent is like the hope. It's not you, it's not me, it's him. And like I was like, that thing stuck with me ever since I saw the movie.
Yeah, and it makes me think. That's a good point, Shannon. I think about Batman is really one of the few heroes, and I'm thinking out loud, that is not a symbol of hope or a sign of hope for the community. It's just like this functional dude that is gonna get shit done. You don't want to see him get it done.
Justice.
Your hope you're not in the place when it is getting done. But like, you think about Spider-Man, right? Like kids wearing the Spider-Man mask, like in the movies, right? Or Superman, like, people are cheering, when they see Superman coming in to like fight somebody, versus like if you anywhere you see Batman flying, you like, shit, I'm in the wrong.
Gotta go.
I'm in the wrong spot.
Right. Like Iron Man, Captain America, like all these the Flash, like all these superheroes are like, yeah, like they're coming in like that is my beacon of hope. And Batman was not that, and he knew that he's not that. He never wants to be that, and no matter what comic book or whatever cartoon or movie, like he never wants to be that. However, he's like, Harvey's going to be that person, and so I'm gonna make sure I keep him up on that pedestal so that happens. So yeah, that's a good point.
He understands. He's the lightning rod for the bigger picture, because I remember asking you, I was like, everyone's like, Batman's a vigilante. I was like, but all these guys are vigilantes, and you said something like like Superman won't break the law to like save the day. But like if Batman needed to break into the Pentagon to like that's
for
what
justice?
He's doing. Yeah, for justice, that's what he's doing.
It's a cakewalk for him. Like, what? All I gotta do is like break into the Pentagon for justice? Say less.
It's man like will Justice League cartoon when they're like, we're turning ourselves in, and he's like,
okay. He's like, good luck. In fact, I'm a part-timer, so like
right. Okay.
That was the blackest thing Batman ever did.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
y'all with this nonsense.
Batman said, "Who is we?" we don't speak French over here, baby.
It's like, y'all ain't been to Gotham. Y'all don't see what I see. I ain't going nowhere. You know what's gonna happen in this city if I leave for a day? Y'all good. I'll see y'all when y'all get out.
Yeah. I'll see you when you get out.
Anything else, y'all?
No, go ahead.
I think the only thing I think about is the other thing I think that circled about this movie a lot was obviously the passing of Heath Ledger through this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it made us, because he passed before the movie came out, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember going in and being like, man, like this is his last performance, and you watching and you like, man, this is like incredible. And like for what it's worth, like I was a fan of him because you think of 10 Things I Hate About You. The other movie when he was like the
Knight's Tale. Knight's Tale.
Yeah,
that's the movie, dog.
That's a great movie.
That is
great movie.
Hey, if Knight's Tale on, that's my afternoon. Like, that's my
afternoon. Great movie.
Like, yeah, so like I was a fan of him, and then he had did before that he had just did Brokeback Mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
this was the movie right after Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, so he had took off so I was like a fan of him, and so like him passing was like really sad. And then you watch it, and I remember thinking like, man, like he literally like gave his life for this role, because this is what like I think that's something that always stuck with me when I watched it. Like when they say like the performance of a lifetime, like it literally is what it costs for him to deliver that, which is very sad, because I think he has so much more good stuff left. And also I think that would not have been the last that we would have seen the Joker either in future future movies for sure. So that was sad. And so that's something else I thought about while watching it.
speaking on, what you said about Heath Ledger, because of this movie, my rule now, excuse me, is when they announced him, everyone had the same reaction, like, what? The dude from Brokeback's going to be the Joker? What? And after this movie, I told myself I will never judge a casting decision until I see the performance.
Yep.
Like, I don't care who y'all cast. I'll be like, well, I'll wait to see the movie. Like, I will never judge a cast based off name until I see the performance ever again because of his performance in this movie.
Agreed 100%. And you know what's crazy? Like, he gave that performance of a lifetime. But I wouldn't say Aaron Eckhart wasn't that far away. Like,
yes.
Harvey, he killed it as Harvey Dent.
He did.
Like, he was showing up. We already talked about Michael Caine. We already talked about Morgan Freeman. And like, I know
Christian Bale. We not talked about
Christian
him.
Bale, we like folks don't talk about him, but like we are really underappreciating the fact that like Batman, like he was Batman for the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And we did not make fun of him talking like this the entire time. We did not make fun of him because we're like, nah, Batman's on it, man. He's on his job. And I think that's a testament to his acting. Like he did his thing. So like to have those actors not be that far away from a dude who is clearly killing it. He went Super Saiyan the entire movie in his acting and still have them that close. That's pretty
Yeah.
like that's impressive.
It's like, Jordan, and then like Scotty's still gonna get in the double digits. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole team is rocking it, but like Jordan is the star. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would say I feel like this one set the trajectory for Christian Bale to be arguably, because some people may still lean on Michael Keaton to be the best Batman ever. I feel like this was the one you were like, okay, like it was almost like maybe those first few championships for Jordan. You like, oh, okay, we got something happening here. And then the next one with Bane comes, like he just like takes it there. You're like, all right, this is the best Batman like ever. I think
do we want to have this discussion? Do we want to talk? Do we want to figure this out? Like the best Batman?
I don't put him as best Batman.
I don't either. Nils knows where I am with that. Who my Batman is.
Oh,
I think it's all of us.
Who's your favorite Batman, Nels?
My favorite Batman is The Voice.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Yeah, but live action. Let's go live action.
Yeah. Oh, live action.
Yeah, when I said best Batman here, I'm talking about live action.
I don't know.
It's unpopular. Maybe not even. I'm just Michael Keaton.
Yeah. You Michael Keaton.
Right.
You have never slashed about that. You've been 10 toes about Michael Keaton.
I'm Batman.
And I will say this, that's I mean, Batman Returns and the original Batman,
they were 2 for 2. He killed
2 for 2. Killed it. And he came out with a lot of pressure being like, yo, why are you picking Mr. Dad to be and Beetlejuice? Like, come on. And he killed it. So I hear you.
And that's why
live action
probably more than I should.
I'm appreciative. I guess this sort of reminds me of the episode we had where I think it might have been about Kobe, but I remember we said something along the lines of what a time to be alive, because we've lived through that phase of like we had Jordan, like we could watch all of these. We watched Jordan, we watched Kobe, we watched LeBron, and and even with that, like obviously people going to debate who's the GOAT and this and that, but the fact that we got to see all of them, like that's an accomplishment within itself. It's not like, oh yeah, 20 years ago, 50 years ago Jordan existed, and I was 1 year old, so I never saw him. But I mentioned that because for me, I can't even say who my favorite is, because I'm just like, I don't know. But I am like Michael Keaton. I was like, that was my first Batman, and we're just talking live action. Michael Keaton, that was my first Batman. This one was amazing. Ben Affleck gave just this other side of Batman that I had not seen live action. Sort of like, I mean, obviously he was still super intelligent, but like this brute force type of thing. I was like, I had not seen that from Batman. And then even like the Robert Pattinson, that was like, it was such a weird thing because you always hear people be like, bat freak, this and that. But that really, I feel like that just really showed you. Yeah, if Batman existed, no, this is really how people would look at him. Like, bruh, you so
Dog.
what is this?
What are you doing, dog?
Yeah. He really gave
That a
this
Dodge Charger?
yeah. And so he really gave like that sort of view of it and everything as well. So yeah. I don't even know for me, but that's what they gave to me.
This is where I stand. I think Bell might be the best Bruce Wayne. I think Affleck might be the best Batman.
Wow.
And I don't even care for those movies, but like I think well, let me take that back. He got them both. I think like Keaton, you go back, I think like Keaton does a really good Bruce Wayne. I think Bell is like he's kind of like got them both really down. But I think Ben Affleck did a really great Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like I believed that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Like Keaton, when I see his Bruce Wayne, I'm like, you're not Batman, dog. Like I don't know. It's just like it just doesn't translate for me. But with Affleck, like I could see this guy putting on a suit and being Batman.
Only thing I was thinking about Affleck is that he doesn't have a movie though.
It's true.
So here's my thing.
He has scenes.
I agree 100%, Mark. I think Affleck did the best job at doing both, like being both characters, and the fact that he did it in bad movies, but he still killed it as like epitomizing Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think it's a very impressive achievement. But I said, man, like I can't give it to Robert Pattinson. I can't, only because he doesn't kill it as Bruce Wayne, but he kills it as Batman. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he did the best job as Batman. Like, that is a year one Batman. Like, it's exactly how Batman would be and how he like is as a detective.
I'm just saying, man, Michael Keaton looked at the Joker off screen and he says, "Tell me, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Like
that is beautiful.
Like he was like toe to toe with him.
He was
gimmicks or nothing. I know,
that's
man.
Beautiful. But like Bruce Wayne wouldn't go, "You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
On, let's get nuts." Bruce Wayne wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Love Michael Keaton for doing that, but like
Bruce Wayne would accidentally fall out the window, and then like come back as Batman.
Yeah. But that was a Gotham City townhouse. There was no windows. He was that's why he went to the bathroom and put that tray. He was like, "This is the only
again, you can't even go to an art show in Gotham. You can't even go on a date at an art show."
People got the mask on. Like, are you kidding me? Again with this shit?
Little intimate date art show. You can't do nothing to Gotham.
You know what it reminds me of? Probably remember Chappelle's show when they did the World Series of Dice, and at the end when it was getting robbed and the commentators were like still cheerful, they were like, "Well, that's the end of our show." You know, like I feel like that's how people would be doing in Gotham. They'll be like talking to me like, "Ah man, but yeah, bro, like I was saying though, like you know what I'm saying? Like we gonna link up next time and like tell the wife I said this."
Yeah. Have y'all seen that clip? Y'all seen that clip of the woman? I think she's in Brazil, and she's like on the bus, and the bus is getting robbed, and she has like a decoy phone. So she like hides her phone and gives the guy a different phone. Like, yo, that's living in Gotham City. Yeah. Decoy wallet, like decoy phone.
Yeah.
You got the bank on speed dial to change your PIN number and stuff like that.
Right.
Hey, Bridget, I get a number 2. Just switching all my codes, all my passwords. Yeah.
People leaving the bank and they change in the bathroom. They taking off their suits and putting on like a hoodie and sweatpants before they like take their commute home.
Oh, man.
All right, y'all. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the Dark Knight. Otis, we just want to thank you for coming on, for giving us some insight Much appreciated. Thank you for repping the Superhero Roundtable, and we appreciate you all. And thank you all. Thank you for listening. We have a new episode every month. You can find us on all social media at Pop Cult Parent, POPCULTPARENT. Visit us at www.popcultparent.com. Email us at popcultparent@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate us, review, and subscribe. And as always, join the cult.
Why so serious?
We